Today, it was finally announced that the city of Raqqa has been taken over by U.S.-backed Kurdish forces from the hands of the Islamic State, which is definitely one of the big blows already this year to ISIS. First, early in the year, or I think it was back in 2016. I'm pretty sure it was earlier this year. But anyway, we had the liberation of Mosul in Iraq, and now finally we have already the Kurds basically finally liberating al-Raqqa from ISIS control. This is definitely a big moment, because this further shows how weakening ISIS is becoming. Now, here's what I think got to this point. Obviously, yes, there's been coalition members fighting against ISIS, most specifically the United States, where we've been sending in airstrikes, some troops, but I want to focus on a little bit on what ISIS has been doing. I think this has been going up to end. I think it was going to end like this no matter what. I'm not just saying that as like, go USA, fuck you terrorists. I mean in a logical sense, because according to Sun Tzu in The Art of War, a very long campaign is in fact very disastrous for the attacking party, and in fact actually it benefits any defenders at all. You can see this further within when the Islamic State actually expanded not just into Syria but also into Iraq, in parts of Libya, and even parts of Nigeria. They've expanded into so much of those parts that they've actually kind of made a mistake over how many people they're going to fight and how spread out they were. That was definitely a problem, and that was further shown when they were finally being driven back, when it started finally in Tikrit in Iraq. That alone shed some light that the Islamic State, while it did hold some initiative for a little bit, it was eventually going to be beaten back. And this is the proof that Raqqa, the de facto capital city of the Islamic State, has finally fallen, further proves that. In fact, everything that ISIS has been doing has been basically going a lot against what Sun Tzu said. Like I said before, he never really advocated for a long-style campaign. What he actually was thinking of was striking quick at the enemy and making sure that it's in short time as possible, so that no resources or manpower or anything that's valuable when it comes to military or strategy and tactics is ever wasted. And that would be the problem why long-standing campaigns are definitely a bad thing, basically mainly for the attacking party. You can further see this in the Second World War in the Pacific theater, when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor to try to take us out of the war early, and then he tried to expand into the Philippines and to Indonesia and Southeast Asia. But eventually, they realized that we were going to continue to be into the fight, and over time, everything suddenly turned against them. Probably even before the Battle of Midway. I think the best possible time, or best obvious events which made this position apparent would be at the Coral Sea. But anyway, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to get into that. Now, how is this going to affect what is currently going on in the Middle East? I honestly don't really know, because I know what's going to happen in Syria, but I do not know how it's going to affect too much in terms of the Middle East. Now, I have a theory that because it was the Kurds who were the ones who took the city of Raqqa, it's probably going to give the Kurds more legitimacy in order to establish their own independent state. That wouldn't it wouldn't surprise me if they actually did that. And in fact, it wouldn't surprise me if that's how they're trying to advertise it for right now. In fact, a lot of the Kurds have been playing a major role in trying to fight off against ISIS in both Syria and Iraq. You can further see this where the Peshmerga managed to actually prevent the ISIS invasion upon the Kurdish region in Iraq. In fact, I don't really think they took too much territory when it comes to that specific area. But anyway, I think that this may actually give some more legitimacy and further boost the morale to the Kurds themselves, because obviously they want their own independent state. And again, I think this would add legitimacy, because this would not only prove that they can defend themselves without any other government that they've been serving with. They also prove that they can basically run their own territory by themselves. And again, that alone would prove legitimacy. Now to continue on, this is obviously going to drive ISIS underground. ISIS is not defeated, despite the fact that we captured both Mosul and Raqqa. They will definitely be driven underground, but the good news is they won't have their primary export in order to get some extra money for their terrorist group, and that is oil. In fact, Raqqa was actually one of the places where oil was very abundant in Syria, and that alone made Raqqa a very strategic target. That's actually one of the reasons why the Kurds, along with the U.S.-backed forces, decided to advance into the city there to prevent the use of any more oils for the Islamic State in order to carry out more terrorist attacks. But there have been also reports that ISIS may be also growing in some Syrian government-held regions, and I don't mean like the opposition. I mean like Bashar al-Assad. This doesn't surprise me, considering that Syria is in the middle of a civil war, and there are some people who are less than supportive of the Syrian government itself. So I would be surprised if there was suddenly a rise in ISIS activity in regions where the Syrian government has control. But for right now, everything is against ISIS. They've already lost their two major strongholds, they've already lost their oil, and now they're being forced underground. That's a big problem. In fact, over time, I think this will in fact break ISIS, because they will no longer have the cash necessary to provide their own troops. They will no longer have good strongholds, and the fact that they lost these two major strongholds is a blow to their own morale. In fact, I think they're being disillusioned and discouraged from any further terrorist attacks as a result. Although I could be wrong, because there have been some zealots within the group, so that wouldn't really surprise. I wouldn't expect everyone in the Islamic State to actually just finally be say, okay, we're stopping because of the loss of these two cities. But for right now, everything is against ISIS, and that is a good thing. My name is Noah Mian from the Arc of Truth. Please subscribe, like this video, and share it with your friends on YouTube. Okay, bye.